Hi, Peter. Welcome to Jeff's Marketing Academy. It's so great to have you here. So, please tell a little bit about yourself and how's your career started in the marketing and everything so far.
Yeah, so happy to be here, Jeff. So I've been doing SEO for over 10 years now, and like most people, kind of got into it randomly. In 2011, I had a sports blog and was kind of just looking to promote it. And as one does, kind of just started going through Google, seeing this mention of SEO and um, search engine optimization, and I was like, wow, that's like so cool that like you can basically improve rankings. And I basically did it on my website and got pretty good results. And then I kind of thought to myself, like, maybe I can get a internship out of this. And yeah, I mean, it kind of went from there. So I work full time for Hub International doing technical SEO, and then I also do some freelance SEO on the side. I've worked with clients from S&P 500 to local SEO, and just really enjoy the field a lot, and always challenging, and I'm always constantly learning. So I guess, yeah, that's a bit about me.
Awesome. So, this may be a little bit out of our scope, of the discussion, but I just want to ask this because a lot of aspiring digital marketers out there, I think, really trying to find the right place to, start their career, or, people who are just graduating out of college and everything.
Yeah.
So, if someone wants to start a career in SEO, what would be your ideal roadmap? Anything brief would be great behind it.
Yeah, sure. So I've actually been asked this a good amount on my some of my LinkedIn posts when I've shared, but essentially you kind of just get the general understanding. So Moz, which has been around, I think, at least over 10 years now, that's where I started, and they had a really good SEO guide. So I think the thing is just getting enough that you have a general understanding and kind of starting to build your own websites and do your own SEO. Because I think as people sometimes in SEOs, we try to know everything about a certain topic. And the reality is you're going to learn more by practically doing it, and you're going to have a better understanding. So, I mean, I would say that, and certainly reaching out and seeing if you can get a mentor, because essentially you can get all their knowledge as fast as can, so you don't have to worry about like the mistakes they've done or like the issues they dealt with. So, yeah, I mean, I would say both of those things, and just um, constantly always learning new things. So following resources like Search Engine Land, Search Engine Journal, being part of certain Facebook groups, and just always just looking to learn and viewing things, I guess, as maybe a challenge, viewing as an opportunity to get better rather than being like how am I going to fix this or improve on this?
Yeah, I think that's a good point because there's a lot of, for example, the social media marketing or content marketing. I think we don't need to have website, or we don't need to have any such things. But when it comes to the SEO, I think at some point we might need to have a few resources on backhand, to test it out and all that, right? So I think that's where a lot of people lack. And I don't know, a lot of people is really afraid because I did my MBA. It's not like a top tier college; it was like
Mm,
medium tier college, and a lot of people were really looking up to me when I was, putting out content regarding digital marketing. And I was like, dude, I'm not even doing that much. There's like a whole lot of
yeah.
ocean out there. So, that's one of the things. So yeah, I think that would be, this roadmap would be great. But the resources that you mentioned are really valid, like Moz, Search Engine Land, and all of the people. Any more resources that you think that's coming to your mind right now that can be really useful other than the top things, anything like some from influencers or anything, or that your peers or you suggest to follow?
I mean, I've been following Matt Diggity for a while. Most people that are do affiliate or some SEO know him, so I'd say he's a really good resource. Brian Dean is really good. Uh, I mean, Lily Reyes does a really good coverage of like SEO updates and need, and Maria Haynes as well does a really good coverage of those. So, I mean, those are the immediate ones I can think of, and then I follow a good amount of people on LinkedIn. So, yeah, I would say those are the ones that I can at least think of. And I think it's just also be willing to test certain information that you receive from Google, because
Mhm.
they'll often say something and what you see in the search results or what you've done yourself might actually be different. So I think it's good to take what they say with a grain of salt and then also be doing your own testing.
Got it. So awesome. So I think we can jump to the core of the discussion, which is
Okay.
the Web3, SEO.
Yeah.
And so for those people, for my audience who just jumped in, would you care to explain like what is Web3? The basic understanding in very simple terms, especially something that's relatable to marketers. Why they should care, anything like that.
You're asking about the difference between Web 2.0 and Web 3.0?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think Web 2.0 was essentially, it seems like more user generated content and web blogs, things like that. And Web 3.0 seems to be more focused, at least what I've read, on decentralization and more the semantic web and kind of just making things so users can have full representation of their data. And I think that's like certainly something that we're seeing more of, is that people are seeing their data being used. And there's been people that have moved to like search engines like DuckDuckGo because they're just tired of seeing ads. And I think it's to the point where it's like initially ads were great. It's like, I also think some users are just tired of seeing them constantly. So I think it kind of opens the idea of that. And I think more just understanding what people want before they actually are putting in the search engines. And just I think something we've seen more recently is just the open or the advent of chat GPT. And I think just people really wanting to get the information as fast as possible and things like that.
And it's interesting that you mentioned this Chat GPT because a lot of people, to be honest, the LinkedIn is kind of got exploded with people and the content writers especially. They
Yeah.
people start to mention that, okay, content writers, you are so screwed, you're just going to go off the jobs and everything. But when I tried that out, and I tried a lot of other AI writing tools as well, there's a lot of plagiarism, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
there was like tons of plagiarism and some content like it can't generate more. I mean I'm not trying saying that we should expect more from that tool, but when people make allegations saying that all the content writers, because I'm actually a content manager in my day job, and when my writers write something and I ask them to write using other AI writing tools, it was not good. It was not good, and it was really a waste of time. But what are your thoughts? Do you think every technology somewhat will evolve in the future, right? So, what are your thoughts? How do you think these AI writers, AI writing tools will evolve in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously it's not perfect, but the reality is AI learns at a much faster rate, and basically by everyone continuing to use this tool, it's going to improve upon that. So it's like everyone's like expecting, wow, this is like good, but like it's not perfect. But like the thing is, it's basically the beginning, and like the amount of data it's receiving, it can only get better. So I mean, I think it certainly has good uses as far as like being able to help to do some keyword research and some like funny things like write me a song about such and such. But like most SEO tools and tools in general, they always continue to improve. And I think it's hard to say like this is not going to affect, I guess, job duties and people's lives because there's a lot there. But I mean, I think you'll probably see sites ranking, but I think Google will eventually catch up because they have much of their AI technology of their own. So I think they'll be able to reverse engineer it. But I still think it's gonna definitely change the way SEO is done and just be assistive and help people get things done faster, which just seems like that's the intent of the tool, is to just give people information and get things done as fast as possible.
Yeah, and when you mentioned Google and their content, algorithms and everything, it's just my thought. It's just Google is constantly releasing update. This helpful content update, and a lot of updates they have been releasing. I don't know. It's just my thought that if you're writing a blog and you are thinking, okay, you don't think anyone else. You're just thinking, okay, you are the user and
Yeah.
you are the one who is going to consume the blog. If you write that, you're doing the basic SEO, this keywords and everything and stuff. I think that would be enough. to get ranked, because I have seen, even whenever my writers do something, and when I see that, it's like there'll be very simple content, just straightforward, value driven, just straightforward. It will be ranking. And there are other articles who I see, like, they spin around so much and so much of content. They might be
Yeah.
ranking, but I don't know. It's just. But do you think that's simply the case? You can just, instead of worrying about too much, you can just write for the user's sake rather than thinking too much. Do you think that's possible to keep it that simple?
Um, I mean, I think it's a combination. As much as Google will say right for the user, you need to be able to be covering relevant entities and have good topical coverage. So I think it's kind of a mix of both. But generally, if you're writing for the user, you're going to be, I guess, mentioning those things naturally. I think, at least online, I've seen many people write content that could be actually worse than like machines. So I think it really depends. Like as they say in SEO, it depends. So it's kind of something that like needs to be looked at as a case to case basis. But in general, like if you're mentioning writing naturally, trying to mention keywords here and there, you're gonna probably do better than most people. Because I think a lot of businesses, some of them aren't even aware SEO exists, so they'll be creating content and it's about random subjects that no one knows about, or they're just not optimized. So yeah.
Got it. Just to touch upon one more thing, when you mentioned the Moz and everything, the one thing popped in my mind. Recently, they released a YouTube video mentioning that don't use keyword planner, because when the number of keywords searches that they show for a particular keyword is like
Yep.
really bad when it comes
Yep.
to other things. Is it true? Is that's how it works? Google keyword planner. I mean, I don't know how much we can rely on that. I've been relying on that for quite some time. But when I saw the video, I was like, what the hell? I mean, like, I've been doing this for so long. I mean, now they're saying this, but what are your thoughts? Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I mean, I know Ahrefs had an article, I think it was either this year or maybe sometime last year, where they basically talked about how the keyword volumes are grossly over exaggerated. So, I mean, it's something that maybe you could use as a tool, but I still think it's important to not focus solely on keyword search volume and focus on more different sides of the funnel. So you'd focus on like informational content, transactional content, and just making sure you're answering different queries. And we've also seen I guess, an increase in people wanting to write so-called zero keyword volume searches. So I think it just is really going to depend on your niche and what kind of content that really resonates with the user. So I think, at least when I started in 2012, there was a reliance on the keyword research tools and being like, well, this doesn't have enough search volume, I don't want to write about it. So I think we've gone more towards focus singly on just keyword volume alone, rather than being like, this may have less search volume, but it'll help me have a better topical coverage of this, and Google will reward me for that.
Got it. But but I do think SEMrush is kind of a reliable one, compared to Moz. I just want to get an idea, because Moz, I think, is kind of a costly tool,
Yeah.
because I searched, and SEMrush is kind of like, they give discounts here and there, and then, to get an average price. Have you used SEMrush? What do you think it's a reliable tool?
Yeah, I mean, I have an Ahrefs account, and then my work, we currently have an SEMrush account. So I mean, I have both of them, and I mean, the data is going to be as reliable as it is. I mean, I think some of them use like Clickstream, but like I mentioned just before, I think it's like you can look at the data, but you also have to like go in and look at the searches and see what's ranking and being like, okay. So I think it's just to do your due diligence and not rely solely on SEO tools, and it's just part of your overall process of keyword research and analysis.
Got it. So, before going onto this Web3, like search engines and everything and stuff, I'm not so. I think you might have seen this recently. Google, or some other company released data that around 30% of Google people who search aren't actually satisfied with the results. Like, I think you might have seen somewhere, and compared to that, so if that's the case, do you think that's how it will happen in the Web3 space as well? Because even Web2, it's been like years, like decades, it's been evolved, but people are suddenly jumping into Web3. Like, even the Brave browser is something that people are kind
Yeah.
of thinking as a Web3 process. Do you think, these algorithms and everything will be caught up soon in Web3, or still it will take like really long time to catch up on?
Um, yeah, I mean, I would say I think they'll get there. Like you mentioned, it seems that we're seeing more and more people dissatisfied with the search results, and I think Google. It sometimes seems like it's maybe not the best content that ranks; it's the best SEO who basically did the work.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're seeing that, and then I know also the advent and things like TikTok and Instagram. We're seeing younger users basically use those over I guess Google essentially because it gives them the information faster and their time span. So I think Google at the end of the day, they're only making money basically if people are clicking on their ads, but at the same time, they need to have good enough search results. So I think they'll definitely try to improve there. But I think there's certainly opportunities for Web 3.0, like uh, DuckDuckGo and like I think the other one you mentioned, I can't think of the name right now. But I think
Great.
Google just has such a large market share that I don't see anyone will ever like I guess take it from them, but I could certainly see people that want more of a not I guess SEO influence results, wanting to see more of those type content because um like for example, if you're on like a recipe site and they write a whole blurb about da da da, and then you finally get to the content. So it's like I think people's attention spans are at an all-time low, just given what we're exposed to. So it's like you just need to like make sure they're satisfied as fast as possible. Otherwise, they're just gonna leave.
Yeah, I've seen, I think, mostly in the cine news, right? This Hollywood or Bollywood, all these news sites. Whenever you go, it's like on the first few paragraphs, you just see the same stuff being written over and over and
Yeah.
over again. And I don't even know how these people getting ranked. I was like, we will be working day and night to rank the proper content, but some normal stuff it just gets ranked. I think I don't know, maybe in the future or anything like these might go away. But I think a lot of people have to understand it's not like your fault. People who are writing something their fault. It's
Yeah.
just something that's uncontrollable. So cool. So that's coming back to one of the things that we want to talk. I think a lot of people have been discussing, and even I, want to try this out. It's backlinking, right? People,
Yeah.
trying to publish it on various sites and everything. So just to start, what is actually backlinks, and how does link building and everything works? Can you give a brief on that?
Yeah, sure. So you can think of backlinks essentially like a citation, so to speak. So if my website is CNN.com and Wikipedia mentions my website, that is essentially a backlink. And Google basically built their foundation on link graph, which was essentially this site is X amount of mentions, and then it helps me get more authority. So, I mean, I know originally that it was one of the top 3 ranking factors, but essentially you're just trying to basically get mentions or um, basically links back to your website, and essentially that helps improve your overall relevance and trust and link graph and things like that.
Got it. So okay, so in 2023, will it work? Would you suggest to someone that do backlinking on a daily basis?
How to do it?
Would you suggest that in 2023 for your clients, or anyone who comes to you, if they're
Yeah.
asking like should we do backlinks? Would you suggest them to do it?
Yeah, I mean this is a touchy topic for some because some are like don't actively try to do it, but the reality is there's certain industries or niches where like no one's gonna naturally link to you or it's just not very done. So sometimes you have to like go out and create content and engage and create relationships. So I think it really depends on like the certain sites. There's some sites that are just so far into their existence and people know about them that they don't have to naturally create backlinks. But at the same time, it's like if no one's heard of you, you sometimes have to basically go out and manually do things. So I think it's certainly something that should be part of the process. I think ultimately backlinks are still going to be super strong, but I could see, I mean, Google's mentioned that there's less and less effects. So I've seen that, but I think there'll always be a top ranking factor because the reality is content is important, but it's not bulletproof. So it's like, it's not a thing where it's like they can have 100% confidence in it because, like we mentioned, there's Machine GPT and all these tools that can essentially create it for free. So I think it's like it's something you need to like have as part of your overall strategy.
Understood. And so I think even if Google gives an update saying that okay, we're going to roll out this new update by June, and I think to take that effect, for people, I think it will take maybe a couple of months, to take it fully effective. That
Yep.
algorithm. I think that's kind of gives a window for all the brands and everything that to replace their strategy and SEOs. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. So Peter, is it morning or evening there? What time?
It's 9 a.m. here.
9 a.m. Okay. So I just
Yep.
asked this out of the box question, mostly in all the interviews. So, who was actually the last person that you made smile yesterday?
Oh. Well, I actually saw my personal training coach, so um, she was just happy to see me. So then we just connected because we don't really see each other a ton. Like she does my personal training program each month, but other than that, we don't do a ton of in-person sessions. So it's nice to just see her. She seemed like she's doing really well, so it's nice to like just see her happy and know that her business is thriving.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Awesome. So just moving on to the final section. What do you think like some of your best SEO strategies that brands should follow for upcoming 2023? Should they, is it like backlinks or is it like, I mean, what is your general idea like the brands should do?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big buzzwords is entity SEO, whereas essentially Google needs to basically be able to understand your content and not have no ambiguity. So like we're both SEOs, and if we put in the word SEO into the search engines, it's obviously to us what that is, but in Google they're like a machine, so it could be like I think there's something in South Korea related to SEO, and there's just like acronyms and things like that. So I think it's essentially making it uh, abundantly clear to Google. So essentially, you're using schema for things like about and mentions, and essentially linking that to a knowledge base. So I think it's there, and so I'd probably start off with that. And I think more importance on internal backlinking. I think backlinks are very important, but you don't have end of control over many of them. So I think it comes to like creating more internal links to certain content and creating like supporting content and just really nailing all your topical authority and coverage of those things. So I'd probably say that. And then also just having a good website and making sure it's accomplishing goals because you can have the best website and it could be ranked the highest as possible. But if you're not getting people to actively complete what they're trying to do, I think that's another thing. And I think also being able to rank for the right keywords because kind of goes back to what I was saying, but like you can be ranked extremely well for a keyword, but if you're not, the page and experience is not matching what someone's expecting, then they're just going to leave. So I would say those things and continuing to establish relationships and creating backlinks both organically and I guess as Google says, black hat leads, but not intentionally, but just trying to establish relationships and making sure you're there. And I mean, those are, I guess, the big ones. And I think, um, I know it seems like more and more they're trying to push organic results off the first page with paid ads, as we've kind of seen how they've gone from the traditional 10 page or so
Yeah.
link to the infinite scroll. So I think it's just important to try to be ranked as high as possible, which is obviously easier said than done. But I mean, ways you can do that is having enticing title tags, good meta description, and just making sure you're standing out. And yeah, I mean, I would probably say those are my big ones, and just be willing to try to learn new things and test things. So making sure you're actively testing what's working, and like I mentioned a bit earlier, is doing your own test, because sometimes Google's gonna say certain things and you can see what's ranking, and it's obviously not what they're saying.
That's really makes sense. And to be completely honest, I really don't like that infinite scroll because previously it gave a lot of brands this high level of power that if you're ranking number one page, you're like the
Yeah,
best. People don't go to number two. Like they
yeah,
have like, okay, I don't go to number two because these are the 10 things that I want to see. That's what Google says, right? These are the things that you want to see. This is the best. Don't go to number two. But when you have the infinite scroll, it's like I don't know, it just feels so clustered recently whenever I saw that. And mostly if it's like 10, you have the 10 pages and then,
yeah.
below you have the related searches. It's like simple, minimalist and stuff. And maybe some people might be really find it useful for it because they might get a lot of impressions that, considering and everything. Maybe the title, if people see, scrolling them continuously. But yeah, I just really hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I know they initially had it on mobile, and I'm guessing
Hmm. Yeah.
the users who were actually researching, they responded well, so they rolled it out on desktop. But I mean, who knows? They might roll it back. I don't know. It's definitely a different experience, because I think for some queries, I definitely
Hmm.
go onto the second page, but these are like really, really, really like explicit like queries. So I think it just
Hmm.
really depends. But like the bulk of your clicks are going to go through the 1 to 5, and you might have some people going into page two. But I mean, after I guess the 10 results now. So I think it really depends on the query.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's most sums it up. So entity SEO and internal backlinking and then infinite number of scrolls. I think that's what the summary is. So just one thing. I'm sorry, it just popped in my mind right now.
Yeah,
This people, they say that they are using TikTok and other social media apps for as search engines rather than
yeah,
Google way more. And I recently saw this job posting saying that TikTok SEO analyst or this something I saw something related to social media I saw. Do you think, I mean, other than the normal description or anything, because they don't give any ultimate guidance to rank, right? Mostly
yeah.
they see the video and based on the video algorithms, it ranks. Less number of text and more visuals, that's rank. Is there any specific SEO that you saw recently or you've done for anyone recently in this other social medias like TikTok or Instagram, these things, anything that's coming?
I mean, yeah, TikTok and Instagram SEO is not really my bread and butter, but it seems like it's focused on just um, being really engaging and just getting people the content as fast as possible. And um, I think they're all about attention spans. So I could certainly see it growing in the future, that they take up market share, but at the same time, um, sometimes you just want certain information. So it seems like apparently a lot of them were looking at TikTok or Instagram for like local recommendations, and they don't want to read like go through all these pages and reviews. So I think it really just depends on what you're looking for. And yeah, I'd say that.
Got it, got it. I think the short form really matters a lot. I mean, yeah, completely honest. I don't know how many people are reading the blog these days. Other than the H2s and H3s, I don't know how many people are entirely reading the content inside. So yeah, I guess that.
I think it just really depends on the person, because I think I can definitely relate to that, where some people just want a video or some people want to read a blog. And um, I mean, I like videos, but at the same time, I like reading a book where it's just like, I guess, therapeutic in a way. And sometimes you just don't want to read summaries. So it really
Yeah,
just depends on, I guess, a unique person's needs and what they want to see.
got it, got it, got it. Awesome. So Peter, table's turn. Is there anything else that you want to ask me?
Uh, sure. Like, I guess since I talked about the beginning how I got into SEO, how did you get into SEO?
Sure. So, I mean, SEO is not my full-on forte. I'm
Yeah,
actually right now working as a content manager in my day job, and mostly we do a lot of like blogs, landing pages, sites, case studies, and all that. But there was a lot of clashes between me and the SEO. Because the requirement of an SEO site guy will be like a bit different than what I give. Because I don't know, maybe this is my I don't know, MBA brain or marketing brain or whatever stuff is, but I mostly want to write. I don't even think a lot about the keyword. I just write based on the context. Okay, this is
Yeah.
what the context is for the reading. And when it goes to for the review, they say they would change a lot of things, and then sort of learn by it. Then okay, this is how it's ranking. This is how it's ranking. But I just want to jump in SEO because it's really freaking me out. To be
Yeah.
honest, a lot of things like freaking me out, and I just want to see, okay, what can I do about it? And I think a lot of people, to be honest, are really afraid of the word SEO even. Like, oh my god, SEO, it's like a big thing. I mean, so I'm going to jump in and try, but it's really a lot of minute details, but in a large volume. So I think that's one of the reasons why I kind of started the podcast. And a lot of people keep on asking me. I'm like, I don't know, but I can look at the content. I don't know. I don't know much about the SEO, so I'll bring in experts and see you are. And yeah, I think that's that's how it started.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for writers to have some general knowledge of SEO, but I feel like they don't need to be like experts unless they want to go into like become a full-on practitioner.
Understood. Awesome. So Peter, thanks so much for coming out to the show. It really was an awesome conversation. And if people want to, find you or your services, where they can find it, would be really great to hear about that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a website, peterrota.seo.com, and also feel free to send me a LinkedIn request. My name is Peter, and the last name is Rota, ROTA. So, yeah, feel free to connect with me there. I'm currently open to freelance work. So, yeah, definitely looking to connect or just educate people. Yeah, really appreciate you reaching out. It was a pleasure. And yeah, thanks again.
Awesome. So guys, I'll definitely link everything in the description below. You can definitely check it out. And yeah, thanks again, Peter. Thanks for hopping on, and I'll see you guys next episode.